Hey guys, real quick before this video gets going, obviously there's things going on in the world right now, and while I 100% support the Black Lives Matter movement, I'm just here to give you basketball content. But in the pinned comment of this video, there's going to be a link to various petitions and donations that I've found, and I've retweeted a few of these on my Twitter as well. So yeah, anyway, Larry Byrd. What if he played in the NBA today? This is a thing I'm going to do because, of course, there's nothing happening in the actual NBA right now. So, talk about Byrd. I talked about MJ a couple weeks ago. We'll do one on Magic and whoever else. So, with Larry Byrd, we're talking about a 6'9", 6'10 guy. Amazing shooter, high release point, fadeaways, contested shot making. That would translate right away into today's NBA. I mean, if you look at Byrd's highlights, a lot of his game was off the ball stuff. He could dribble, and we'll get into that, but a lot of his game was moving off the ball and then shooting a 15, 16, 17 footer or whatever, and guys just had nothing to do with it. They couldn't contest it, you know what I mean? And then off of his jump shot, he could then cut to the basket. He could hit you with a pump fake. He could, do some post-ups. And then he would also use that mid-range area to pull off some really awesome passes, right? That would all translate in today's NBA. The difference is, of course, he would be shooting a lot of threes as opposed to those 17-footers or whatever. And, he would run off the ball. I figure he would set screens, and then in the moment of the defense being like, oh crap, do we switch? What do we do? He would take that moment to either shoot a three or go off the dribble because a guy's off balance, and then he's an awesome passer, so he'll find the open guy. He'll hit a big man with an alley-oop. That's kind of the way it would go. I guess a comparison could be kind of like how Klay Thompson scores a bunch of his points without actually being a great ball handler. I think Byrd was a better ball handler than Klay. So I feel like it would kind of be that. Of course, the post-ups would be a part of Byrd's game as well. You figure he would play power forward. And I guess to talk about the shooting a little bit more. To me, the comparison for him, because of his size and everything, I know they're both white guys, and I don't like doing that, but I do feel like it kind of makes sense, is Davis Bertans' shooting this year. Bertans, 6'10", I don't know what his wingspan is, but he's tall as hell. He's confident when he goes up with it, and he attempts a lot of contested threes, and they go in, right? I figured the same thing would happen with Byrd. And I feel like Larry would have kind of like a Steph Curry impact with spacing assists and all that, because you would just have to switch onto him all the time, and that would force mismatches in other places. And I mean, it would depend a lot on what team Byrd ended up on. I mean, I guess there would be a chance that some coach would not use him correctly, in the sense of you would have him standing there a little bit too much. But at the same time, Byrd was such a smart player, I feel like he wouldn't allow himself to just stand in the corner. Like, he would, whether it be going directly at the coach or just basically going, doing something on the fly, he would, he'd set a screen for a ball handler. He would bring the ball up floor himself and then hand it off to somebody and then cut to the basket. Like, Byrd just did so much more that I feel like, while it would be awesome if he had a coach who would really understand how to use him and have him moving off the ball and stuff, I think Byrd would do a lot of that anyway. Now, of course, if he had a team who did understand how to use him, then good luck, especially if there's a solid amount of shooting and a big man who doesn't suck around him, I guess we can talk about Byrd's playmaking and stuff a little bit more. So, of course, nowadays we've got guys who are running pick and rolls at the top of the key all day. Luka, Harden, LeBron, Dame, 17 other ball handlers. I don't know if Byrd would do that at the level that other guys do. Partially because, he wasn't an amazing ball handler. He was a good ball handler, and he was good enough with the combination of the threat of his shot to beat guys off the dribble through pump fakes and stuff. But Byrd was not using crossovers and between the legs moves and hesitations, and like that wasn't what he was doing, right? And so I feel like while he would still be an awesome assist kind of guy, I just don't think he would be a primary ball handler. Like, he would get his assists in today's NBA, in my opinion, based on some of the things I said earlier, the idea of you get guys off balance with the jumper and moving off the ball, and then you make a play. I feel like he'd get a lot of assists in the post as well. I think Byrd would be a post-up power forward because, some of it would just be the ability to make contested shots. But Byrd also had a lot of creativity with hook shots and things, and I feel like teams would really respect his post-up abilities, and they would have guys moving off the ball. Hopefully, then he could hit guys with passes and stuff. Byrd was also tall enough to make passes that some guys couldn't make, whether it be like a pass from, say if you're posting up and then the guy in the opposite corner is open. I feel like Byrd could either get him the ball directly or he would throw it to the elbow and then that guy would get it to the guy in the corner. Like, Byrd, to me, his passing out of the post would be similar to Marc Gasol. But again, I just don't think Byrd would be busting out a bunch of pick and rolls and ISOs at the top of the key. It'd be that thing where, like, Byrd, I don't think he'd be the primary ball handler of a team unless they needed him to be. But he would still be the vocal point of the offense. Because you picture it like this, right? Byrd sets a screen for the point guard, whatever. And assuming the point guard is at least halfway decent, I don't know how you defend it. Because it's like you can switch onto Byrd. Now he's got a smaller guy on him. You can't trap the point guard because now Bird's wide open. You could potentially go under. I mean, it depends on the guard, and there's a chance that the team's got some non-shooter you can leave wide open. Like, it depends on everybody involved, I understand that. But assuming that the talent around Byrd would not be terrible, I think it would be very difficult to defend just a simple play of him setting a screen for his point guard, you know what I mean? And I guess I can think about, like, how would Byrd fare against an elite defense? Like, say if you were running that similar thing, Byrd setting screens on and off the ball, just constantly moving, all that stuff, right? And he was facing the Warriors, and Draymond would probably be the guy defending Byrd at first, but through all the screens, you would try to get Draymond off of Byrd. Although I would like to point out, because of Byrd shooting, I think he could make shots over Draymond, but if he's facing the Warriors, I mean, it is an interesting thing, the idea of at a certain point, would Byrd just be forced to make a play, go off the dribble or whatever. But even then, I feel like he'd be good enough at getting to 15, 16 feet or whatever. Like, even if we're going to accept that he would shoot more threes, it's not like the mid-range game would be non-existent for Byrd, you know what I mean? Like, if he's facing a defense that's constantly switching and no matter where he goes, he's got a good guy on him, I feel like he'd still be able to get to his spot enough and then take advantage of that shot-making ability. I guess we could talk about other things with Bird's game. So he grabbed a lot of offensive rebounds earlier on in his career. He stopped doing it later on. I feel like if he played today, he wouldn't grab as many because we just don't believe in grabbing offensive rebounds like that. We more so believe in transition defense and all that. And I do think it would stand for teams to go a little harder towards grabbing offensive boards. And I feel like Byrd would grab at least a few, but I don't think he'd be a force on the offensive glass like he was his first couple years with the Celtics. As far as rebounds overall, he'd probably get like 7 or 8 a game. It would depend on his center. I mean, maybe he would be playing with a rebound chaser. Maybe he'd be playing with a more of a box-out guy who doesn't grab as many boards. I don't know. I mean, there's a chance if he'd be playing with Brook Lopez, he would get 12 rebounds a game. If he's playing with Andre Drummond, he would maybe get 7. Don't know. I guess we can talk about Bird's defense now. So Byrd, he made a couple of all-defense teams. I feel like he was a very good team defender. He was really good at getting into passing lanes. He was a big guy, and he wasn't an amazing athlete, but he was a good one. So he could kind of anticipate things, and he could just see stuff happening before everybody else could. So whether that would be, like I said, going for a steal or going for a double team. I mean, you didn't have as much freedom defensively back when Byrd played. You couldn't just leave a guy open and not then go to strong double team. Nowadays you can stand wherever the hell you want to on defense besides right in the paint. So I feel like that would help out Byrd, especially because I feel like the team he would be on, whoever the hell it would probably ask him to defend wings who were probably not the best wing on the other team. I mean, Byrd's one-on-one defense was not as good as his team defense, I would say. And today, if he was asked to defend, LeBron, Kawhi, PG one-on-one, Jimmy Butler, whoever else, I feel like he could do it, but it wouldn't be the thing to really ask him to do. Like, to me, the thing to do would be you have him defend a guy who he can kind of leave open a little bit, and then that would allow Byrd to freelance a little bit, get into passing lanes, go for rebounds, and whatever else. But I do think he would still be a good one-on-one defender. I don't think he would just get torched if he was defending like Kawhi or whoever. Partially because Byrd was tough as hell, so he will he'll step up to that challenge or whatever. I know that's a hyperbole and whatever, but I do kind of believe that with Byrd. So yeah, I guess if Byrd played today, he'd probably average 27, 28 points, 7, 8 rebounds, 6, 7 assists, perennial top whatever guys in the NBA. And yeah,